Hello and welcome to Granada Reports with the news across the northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us tonight on the programme this evening.
A house fire in Blackpool kills a man and a woman in their 20s and leaves their 2 children in hospital. We'll have the latest from the scene.
An historic moment. The King's speech includes 2 major milestones for our region. It follows years of campaigning by those who lost loved ones in the arena bombing and by the Hillsborough families.
I'm rather shocked, really, at all I heard about the Hillsborough law. That's part of the Hillsborough law, was a duty of candour. Well, we already had the duty of candour, so we've got nothing there, absolutely nothing.
7 years after being destroyed by fire, a world-renowned cancer research centre finally reopens. Curiouser
and curiouser. Alice in Wonderland, like we've never seen it before.
And knock knock, summer's back, but how long will it be hanging around for? I'll have all the details later on in the programme.
So please stay with us for all of that. First tonight, 2 parents have died and their 2 children are in hospital after a fire at a house in Blackpool.
Police are describing the condition of one of the children as very poorly. Anna Joseph is at the scene for us tonight. Anna, what more can you tell us?
Well, Lucy, in the early hours of this morning, emergency services were called to a house behind me here on Peter Street in Blackpool. A woman in her 20s was found dead at the scene, and a man also in his 20s was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead a short time later. 2 children were also injured in the blaze. One of them police have described as being in a very poorly condition. I spoke to one eyewitness who didn't want to appear on camera, who told me that they were woken up by hearing a loud noise and screaming, and how a neighbour had smashed a window to save one of the children. Now, police say that they are working with a fire service to establish the cause of the blaze and that they're keeping an open mind. No arrests have been made. I spoke to the investigating officer just a short time ago.
I know this tragic news will be met with great sadness in the community and people will want instant answers. However, there are grieving loved ones still trying to come to terms with this devastating news. I'm sure you will all share in our thoughts being with them at this tremendously difficult time. With that in mind, I would ask for patience and that people would avoid unhelpful and upsetting speculation.
Now, the police are also appealing for anybody who saw or captured anything suspicious on their CCTV or dash cams to contact them. Anything that's going to help them find out how and why this tragedy happened.
Anna Joseph in Blackpool, thank you.
Well, next tonight, the moves to change a culture of defensiveness when disaster strikes. That's what's been promised today in the King's speech, with a commitment to the long-awaited Hillsborough law.
The new law aims to prevent miscarriages of justice like those suffered after the 1989 disaster. It'll require public officials to tell the truth or face prosecution.
The King's speech also saw a major breakthrough for campaigners who want to improve safety and security in public venues. That'll be known as Martin's Law, in memory of Martin Hett, who died at the arena. His mother, Figan Murray, and her supporters have been determined to get this one through.
But do campaigners think the announcements go far enough? Our political correspondent Elaine Wilcox was at Parliament for the speech.
As the King arrived at Westminster in a golden carriage came the stark warning: despite the spectacle, the country's still cash poor. That didn't stop the pomp and pageantry, with Chorley's MP and Common Speaker at the heart of it.
You know, this is about the North, quite rightly, taking over the South. This is where people understand, what is this government about? What is this government standing for?
My government will take steps to help rebuild trust and foster respect. Legislation will be brought forward to introduce a duty of candour for public servants.
After decades of injustice, a pledge to end official cover-up suffered by the Hillsborough families. But campaigners say their promised law doesn't go far enough.
Those who created disasters like Hillsborough They get funded. I heard no mention of helping the ordinary victims to get funding. Absolute disgrace. Them 97 deserve a Hillsborough law. They deserve a legacy, and their legacy is dying for safety for people in this country.
The families of the 97 had to pay their own legal costs for many years to get to the truth. They'd called for parity of funding with official bodies.
Are you confident this is the Hillsborough law that you have been campaigning so long for and not a watered down version?
I'll be confident once we get the legislation through that it actually looks like the Hillsborough law, because I won't settle for nothing less, and it'll be me and many others be holding people's feet to the fire, the government's feet to the fire on this, to make sure that it actually does what the family survivors and everybody connected to state cover-ups wants to achieve, Elaine.
The delay in backing a Hillsborough law meant frustration for successive inquiries, with frustration for the Irina bomb families too. But today, elation for Figan Murray, with Labour's plans to improve venue security with Martin's Law.
Here it comes. Absolutely delighted. Obviously, it's the news we were waiting for. As I listened to more of it being said, what I realised is that other legislation that was mentioned will nicely dovetail into Martin's Law.
My government will seek a new partnership with both business and working people.
A busy programme with a pledge to be house builders, not blockers, and to end the injustice of leaseholds. A victory for a campaign by a nurse from Ellesmere Port.
King's speech today is a breath of fresh air for leaseholders. It really does confirm that this new government is really committed to bringing in meaningful leasehold reform for leaseholders. It's seen as a key priority for this government, and we were really hoping it would be, and they've committed to the fact that it is in there. So we are absolutely delighted that they're going to drive forward leasehold reform. It's unfinished business and it needs to be done.
Tackling child poverty too, all primary schools are to open free breakfast clubs.
Because the amount of children that must be going to school hungry, and that's no fault of the parents, it's the economy.
Some of our families are really struggling to afford some really basic things. You know, there are times where we will not just feed them, but we'll provide bedding or clothing, or we'll wash their clothes, you know, just help them through some really tough times.
But disappointment for families with the retention of the Conservatives' two-child benefit cap, a step too far for current budgets. Ministers have promised to take the brakes off the economy and more devolution, inviting the Isle of Man's Chief Minister for the first time, but stressing rebuilding won't happen overnight.
Well, Elaine is at Westminster for us tonight. A busy day for you, Elaine.
Busy day in government too, with plans for up to 40 new laws. The Prime Minister setting out his agenda, acting on the work of those key campaigners in the North West. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by James Frith, Labour MP for Bury North. Huge credit to the campaigners in the North West driving through these new laws.
Look, today's been a jam-packed day announcing the plan for change that the Labour Party were elected to deliver at the general election, but it's a huge success, and to the credit of those campaigners, of which I would include myself, that have spent all their time dedicated to a cause, and now with the power of politics we'll see the changes, I hope, the changes that they've been campaigning for.
They're calling for more work on Hillsborough Law, something you've backed.
For sure, and always the bill and the announcement of the bill in the Queen's speech will always be followed then by the detail. That will be scrutinised, there will be votes on that, and of course that's part of the process that follows today. But a real welcome step forward. It was promised in the election, it's been delivered in government.
Now, one thing that you are really celebrating is an independent football regulator. We saw you on the day that Bury FC, your beloved club, was ejected from the Football League. Would that have prevented that agony for Bury fans, an independent regulator?
I believe it would have, but it's also the test for any future independent regulator. This is about ensuring a fan's voice within their club, but it's also about sustainability, financial responsibility, and ensuring that rogue owners don't come in and do what they have done in the past to clubs that then pay the ultimate price. And in the case of Bury FC, I'm delighted that some 5 years since the last election, essentially, I'm able to come back and within the first King's speech we've included a promise that we made at the time that clubs and the hardships that Bury endured are not in vain, but in fact a football regulator will be the start of that.
Just briefly, will it have teeth? Will it be strong enough?
It has to have teeth, and actually we've said a lot about the failure of some of the regulators and some of the other organisations. So it has to have teeth if it's to be effective. That's the job I'll be doing.
OK, well, you're celebrating tonight. Lots to do in government. Back to you.
Elaine, thank you. Well, there was, of course, much more in the King's speech. Here's a breakdown of some of the other proposed laws.
The new Planning and Infrastructure Bill aims to speed up house building, while no-fault evictions will end.
Train operators will come back into public ownership, and the Better Buses Bill will allow local leaders to take control of their services.
A new Council of the Nations and Regions will be created. New powers will be given to metro mayors and combined authorities in England.
Elsewhere, there's a new Industrial Strategy Council tasked with increasing living standards. A new Border Security Command will tackle immigration.
There are new bills on employment rights and football governance, new limits on the sale and marketing of vapes, and the VAT exemption for private schools will end, with the aim of funding 6,500 new teachers. Yes, I see what we mean by a busy day, and there's much more on the King's speech coming up on the ITV National News. Here's Lucrezia with the details.
Coming up, the King's speech, renationalising rail, reforming planning laws and a promise to rebuild the economy. Labour's 40 new laws. Also, we'll have the latest on a double murder investigation in Sweden, with 2 Brits feared dead. And the Paris Olympics edge closer. We catch up with Tom Daly and the rest of Team GB's divers. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
2 other stories making the headlines tonight, and 2 teenagers found guilty of murdering a 14-year-old in Manchester have been named for the first time. Nathaniel Shani was killed following a row over cannabis. Kyle DeModi, now 15, and Trey Stewart Gale, who's 14, were armed with a knife and a screwdriver when they attacked the unarmed teen. A judge ruled that reporting restrictions preventing the publications of the boys' names should be lifted.
The family of a teenager who was shot dead in Liverpool say they're in a living hell. They're appealing for anyone with information to come forward ahead of his funeral. Ellis Cox was 19. He was killed in Aintree on the evening of June the 23rd. Releasing new childhood pictures, they describe him as an exceptional son with his whole life ahead of him. They say they won't rest until they have justice.
Jay Slater's mum has left flowers close to the ravine in Tenerife where his body was discovered, with the words, "I'm sorry we never found you, and I miss you so much." The 19-year-old from Oswald in Lancashire vanished exactly a month ago today after going to the Spanish island for a music festival. His body was found on Monday. Preparations are now being made to fly his remains home. A pioneering cancer research building that was destroyed by fire has finally reopened after 7 years of fundraising and rebuilding.
Yeah, the Patterson Centre at the Christie Hospital in South Manchester is one of the world's leading research centres. The extraordinary work that goes on there has changed the way we treat certain cancers. So researchers there were devastated when the original building burnt down. But then an incredible project started to rebuild on a hugely ambitious scale.
Now, a new £150 million building, double the size of the original, has opened its doors. Tim Scott takes up the story.
April 2017, and fire rips through the Christie Cancer Hospital in South Manchester. Years of research materials were lost and the costs ran into tens of millions of pounds. Thanks to hard work and fundraising, though, today the brand new Patterson building has been officially opened on the site.
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it, since the fire, and now Phoenix-like, this fantastic building has raised itself from the ashes. We've co-located 300 scientists with 400 clinicians and operational staff to bring it all together in a co-location of these people to drive new ideas, drive new science, and actually drive new clinical trials. In fact, we want to double the number of clinical trials at the Christie by 2030 through this building.
In the building's Biomark Centre, scientists are studying cancer of the unknown primary, or CUP, where someone presents with cancer but there's no certainty where in the body it started, meaning targeted treatment can be difficult.
What we do here at the CRUK National Biomarker Centre is look at the blood and see if we can find biomarkers or clues to where the cancer started. So we can take a blood test, take tiny amounts of DNA that's come from the tumour and examine that for biomarkers that give us clues to where the cancer started.
And if your research is successful, what kind of a difference will this make to diagnosis and treatment of cancer patients?
Well, the advantage of a blood test would be that we could do this test quickly, so we might be able to speed up the diagnosis for patients and also give them a diagnosis, which means we'll remove the uncertainty and also potentially open up treatment options that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Of course, it's not really about buildings and laboratories, it's about the patients. Judith Gillibrand was given 12 months to live. That was nearly 4 years ago. She's so grateful to the Christie medics who treated her lung cancer.
The treatment here has been absolutely fabulous. Been so well cared for, thanks to Dr. Califano and his team. I can't sing the praises enough. And my cancer has shrunk considerably.
In the years to come, the research done in the new Patterson building will build on the brilliant work already done at the Christie and keep it at the forefront of the fight against cancer. Tim Scott, ITV News, Manchester.
Yes, such respect for the work that goes on at the Christie and, of course, at the Patterson Centre. Incredible work by those researchers in an amazing building. OK, still to come tonight.
Why this darts player thinks the Football Association should be targeting the former Liverpool boss.
And it's an upward trend in temperatures from today, peaking on Friday. A return of summer. All the details are coming up in a few minutes.
Summer music to our ears. Now then, it is the 25th Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards this year, so we need your help to find a fantastic fundraiser to represent ITV Granada reports at the awards ceremony. They'll even be in with a shout of winning the overall Pride of Britain Regional Fundraiser Award.
It's one of the biggest events in the showbiz calendar, but it's the amazing public, not the celebrities, who are the stars of the show. And now we need your help to find this year's ITV Granada Reports winner.
So, if you'd like to nominate someone to be our regional fundraiser of the year, you can head to our website at itv.com/Pride of Britain.
You can only nominate individuals and they must be aged 18 years old or over. If you are under the age of 18, please get permission from a parent or guardian before you nominate.
The closing date for nominations is Sunday, the 11th of August. Full terms and conditions and our privacy notice can be found on our website. Well, time for sport now, and we can hear from a true sporting superstar on both sides of the Atlantic, from our sporting superstar, Michael.
Oh, how very kind. But we're not talking about me, we're talking about a man who's looking forward to a very, very special homecoming. Next week, UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall will defend his crown in Manchester, just a few miles from his hometown of Atherton. The fight against American Curtis Blades is at 4 o'clock in the morning, making it prime time viewing over in the USA. Tom paid us a visit and he told me how becoming a world champion was taking some getting used to.
Oh, it's been pretty busy, to be honest. No, it's been good. It's been really good. Obviously, a little bit more media attention than normal. A lot more responsibility, actually, than I really thought about before I won. But it's all good. I like it. I really like it.
What's the coolest thing that's happened since you became champ?
I've met a lot of quite famous people, but I think the coolest thing for me is like just people being excited to be in my presence, I guess. I don't know. I think I still can't get over the fact that people get so excited to meet me and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
I know you clearly don't want to name drop, but who's the most famous person you've met?
One of my personal favourites is probably Louis Theroux, but that's only because I'm a massive Louis Theroux fan. I've probably met people more famous than him, but for me personally, because I'm such a big fan of his, that was a cool moment.
When you were told about your next fight, were you told, look, we've got good news, we've got bad news? The good news is it's on your doorstep. The bad news is it's at 4 o'clock in the morning?
I didn't really get told about the 4 o'clock in the morning thing. That's something that I found out about online, to be honest.
You're joking?
No one told me about that. I think I was expecting it anyway because I knew that that's been done before on the UK pay-per-view cards. And yeah, I asked, could we change it? And I spoke to Leon Edwards, who's the main event on the card. He asked, could it be changed? And we both got knocked back on the idea. So yeah, we just got to move with it. You know, we can sit here and complain about it all day, but. We are the best athletes in the world, and the best athletes in the world have to overcome challenges and overcome and adapt to the challenges in the way, so that's what I'll be doing.
I was reading recently that you successfully managed to do something so many of us have tried to do, and that is take a break from social media.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to do that, and how long have you been off it?
I'm pretty new to it still. I've probably only been like around about a month, probably, maybe 5-6 weeks, something like that. I actually didn't realise how much time I had until I didn't have the phone. Like, it's great. I spend so much more time with my children, actually being present with them. I spend so much more time just thinking about what I've got to do, thinking what I've got to do in my life, what I've got to do in my training camp. I get a lot more sleep now, just small things like that, but it's made quite a big difference so far.
I just want to, before I let you go, I want to ask you about where you're from, because within about a 2-mile radius, there's yourself, UFC world champ. You've got Keely Hodgkinson, who's going for gold at the Olympics.
Yep.
You've got Ella Toone, who's won the Euros with England. What is in the water around there?
I have no idea, to be honest. It's, they're producing some good athletes, our area, and it's great. It's great to see, and I hope that we can continue it on. Do you know what I mean? I hope us 3, 4, whatever, however many people are doing well from there. I hope we can inspire the next generation.
And Keely and Ella have both got murals.
Yep.
And I believe, my spies tell me, there's a Tom Aspinall mural appearing in Atherton as we speak.
Apparently so.
And it's on the side of a chippy.
On the side, yeah, and it's my favourite chippy as well, so. I've not been going for a while though. I've been trying to, watch the physique a little bit, but yeah, it's a bit of a strange place to put it, but I'm honoured either way.
Well, listen, we wish you all the very best for the 27th of July, and thank you so much for coming to see us today.
Thank you.
He's a top man, isn't he? Well, next to some football news, and Manchester United are close to signing highly rated French defender Lenny Yoro from Lille in a deal worth more than £50 million. It's understood he's in Manchester for a medical. And United's women have continued to strengthen ahead of the new season with the signing of Norway international Elisabeth Turland from Brighton. To Blackpool now, and Nathan Aspinall's world match play title defence is over.
But I love Jurgen Klopp, to be honest. I think he's a very attacking, passionate manager. I think that's what England needs. I don't think he's like one of the favourites, but personally, that's who I'd be desperately going for, to be honest, if I was the FA. But you know, I think they're probably going to go for maybe Graham Potter, but I'd go for Jurgen Klopp.
Lots of people saying Jurgen Klopp today. You never know. You never know.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Now to the stage show swapping, performing indoors for the great outdoors. Every summer for decades now, theatre goers in Lancaster have got to watch a very special open-air walkabout show.
Yeah, it sounds great. Audiences join the cast at a well-known landmark in the city to enjoy a production like no other. This year, it's an adaptation of the famous Lewis Carroll novel Alice in Wonderland. Paul Crone reports.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
A fish riding a bicycle can only mean one thing. It's time for the annual outdoor production by the Duke's Theatre in Lancaster. This summer, Alice in Wonderland will wend its way through the picturesque Williamson Park as theatre-goers follow the cast through a series of outdoor scenes and meet crazy characters in costume. Mock Turtle, anyone?
It is one of the highlights of my career to date. I love it, and I love the ears in particular. They're great. I was in an adaptation of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, so it's actually not my first time in a wetsuit, believe it or not.
It's something quite different. I think it's accessible, especially for people with families and children, because there's not as much pressure for them to sit still in a seat and stay quiet. And I'm all about theatres for everyone, and you should be able to enjoy it however you want to.
Rehearsals are important to get everything just so, and sneezing a bag of flour onto someone isn't as easy as it looks.
I really love when you can see that the people, like the kids and stuff, are really enjoying it, and you get to hear back from other people what they thought. I think
what it does for the wider community is really great, like especially in this area.
I've brought my little boy here, you know, throughout the years, and it's just glorious because people really feel part of it, and it's so imaginative for the kids to actually be outdoors.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. There's no need to get crappy. I'm shrimply asking you to deliver this letter to the Duchess.
The first ever promenade performance by the Dukes was way back in 1986, and ever since then Williamson Park has been the perfect location for the outdoor shows. Whether it's left, right, up or down, you might say, all the world's a stage.
This park just enables us to have the most beautiful park, you know, to be able to explore it, but also put crazy sets up and show this story in a slightly different way.
Alice in Wonderland opens on Friday and runs until August the 25th. And bring a brolly, just in case no one wants to get soaked at a Mad Hatter's tea party. Paul Crone, ITV News, Lancaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Chester's about to launch its open-air theatre as well with The Wizard of Oz, The Gangs of New York and the importance of being earnest. So all we need is decent weather. Let's find out what's on the way from Joe.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. Temperatures are on the up over the next few days, probably peaking on Friday at around 27 degrees. There's going to be plenty of sunshine to come as we end the week, but it isn't going to be wall-to-wall sunshine, and there will be some rain at times and a few showers at the weekend itself. Out to the west, a front, and that is going to increase cloud amounts through tonight, bring some showery rain to start the day tomorrow, and then approaches once more tomorrow night, but any rain will clear through during Friday. Back to this evening, and over the last few hours we've seen cloud building, and for most places a much warmer night than last night, 14 or 15 degrees. The early hours of tomorrow morning seeing that showery rain beginning to move in as that front approaches from the west. A cloudy start for all of us tomorrow morning, when the sun will be rising at 5:04, setting just before 9:30 tomorrow evening. Tomorrow's details then, bit of a cloudy, disappointing start, but quite warm across the northwest, with outbreaks of showery rain to start the day. Into the middle of the morning though, skies are already brightening up, and through tomorrow afternoon plenty of sunshine, particularly for parts of Cheshire, Greater Manchester, where the warmest temperatures will be, getting to around 23 Celsius tomorrow afternoon. Slightly more cloud bubbling up at times during the day tomorrow, and for tomorrow night showery rain will push into the Isle of Man for a time, parts of Lancashire and Cumbria. That begins to clear through though through the early hours of Friday morning, and so for Friday itself perhaps some showery rain around initially, but a mostly dry day, and the warmest temperatures certainly will be on Friday, where here in the northwest it will peak at around 25, perhaps 26 degrees. Saturday, a few showers around. It's cooling down through the weekend, but plenty of sunshine on offer. Here's the pollen.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Bit of a late burst for the pollen season over the next couple of days, with very warm temperatures and largely dry conditions on offer. It is going to be high tomorrow, returning to moderate on Friday and Saturday. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joe. Love the way we're looking forward to the weekend already. It's only Wednesday.
Yeah, summer's going to arrive at some point. Maybe.
Bye.
Have a nice night. Bye-bye.